Welcome to the Smash'd Blerd, Minisodes of Smash'd Bruh, where I enjoy a few adult beverages and discuss my favorite bits of useless knowledge, facts, random topics, and my shower thoughts. So sit back, enjoy a few with me, and let's talk Blerdy. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of the Smash'd Blerd. I'm your host, Gamer Blerd. These are shorter minisodes of Smash'd Bruh with no beer review, but I'll still be enjoying some drinks and discuss all type of different topics. For this first episode, let me also give a state of the main show. Smash'd Bruh will definitely be returning soon. We actually have a bunch of great episodes planned, some guests lined up, and plenty of beers to review. So put your notifications on and look for new episodes of both shows when they drop on your favorite podcast channels and on our YouTube. So let's get into it. So today I have been sipping on some beers from a brewery called Two Roads. For those that have watched the main show may remember I had one of these beers the very first episode. So I thought, why not bring a first look for this first episode? If you want the full beer review, definitely go check out that episode though. So what is the topic today? Now, I promise there won't be a whole bunch of wokeness in these episodes, but today I will be talking about a gentleman who created one of the greatest toys of the 90s, who just happens to be an African-American. It is Black History Month, so this just happened to work out as well. So now, as an 80s baby, I come from a generation that was kicked outside for most of their adolescent years, and you had to find your own entertainment and fun with your friends around the block. In the summer, this definitely involved water fights. Now, other than maybe water balloons, what is better on a hot day than a water gun fight? And growing up in the 90s, if you were going to be in a water gun fight, you wanted the baddest water gun on the planet, and that was usually a Super Soaker. So now, until this year, I was completely unaware that the Super Soaker was created by a Black NASA engineer named Lonnie Johnson. Who is Lonnie Johnson, and how did the Super Soaker come to be? So Lonnie was born in Mobile, Alabama in 1949, and as Lonnie grew up, he was naturally curious, and his interest in science and technology was fostered by his father, who was an Army-based truck driver. His father explained the basic principles of electricity and taught him how electric currents work and how to repair household appliances. Lonnie was once quoted, "My parents' support was a big deal. I played with rockets when I was a kid. One day I was making some rocket fuel on top of the stove. It ignited, could have nearly burned the house down, and instead of yelling, my parents got me a hot plate and said, go do that kind of stuff outside." Now, I do think that's pretty cool for parents because I would have beat my kid's ass if that happened. So good for them. He also said he drew a lot of his inspiration from George Washington Carver. So George Washington Carver was also Black. He was born enslaved and went on to become one of the most prominent scientists and inventors of his time. He was also a teacher at the Tuskegee Institute. George Washington Carver devised over 300 products using one major crop, the peanut, which included dyes, plastics, and even gasoline. A fun fact, though, contrary to popular belief, one of those products was actually not peanut butter. Another accomplishment of Johnson is in 1968, during his senior year, he represented his high school at a science fair in Alabama, where he was the only Black student attending the fair. Now, mind you, this was because this was 1968 in Alabama, which was still marked by segregation and open racism in pretty much all aspects of life. Yet, he entered his creation named Linux. Now, Linux was a robot that was 3.5 feet tall, had shoulders that could rotate, 2 arms with elbows and wrists that swiveled, and could pivot and move around on wheels. This robot was so impressive that despite him being Black, they still could not deny Johnson first place. However, this still taught him somewhat of a painful lesson. Even though he created an incredible robot out of scrap metal and took first place, no one from the University of Alabama showed interest in the academic future of this obviously talented young scientist because he was Black. However, Johnson still eventually attended the famed Tuskegee University, from which he graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering and a master's in nuclear engineering. And then it was on to working for the Air Force, and where he got his very first patent for an invention he called the Digital Distance Measuring Instrument. Simply put, this was an early version of DVD reading technology, and an innovation that he ended up calling the big fish that got away, because unfortunately he did not pursue it any further. Now, he went on to work for NASA, and at NASA, Johnson was part of the historic Galileo mission. This mission sent a unmanned craft to study Jupiter in the depths of space en route to the largest planet in the solar system. During this mission, he was fiddling around with some ideas for a new refrigeration system that used water instead of the environmentally hazardous material Freon. He ended up hooking up a nozzle to his bathroom sink, which ended up shooting a powerful stream of water. This got him a little bit motivated, and he ended up building a prototype several months later in his basement for a type of gun that used plexiglass, PVC pipe, or ring seals in a 2-liter bottle for the reservoir. Johnson eventually wanted to try to produce this himself, but he realized that the costs were out of his reach. He attempted to arrange partnerships with toy companies and bring this product to the market. But it wasn't until 1989 where he finally found success. He was at the American International Toy Fair in New York City, where he met the vice president of this toy company called Laramie, who eventually showed interest in his idea. After a successful sales pitch, Laramie Consultants made a few refinements, and the first commercial version of this water gun appeared in stores the following year, but was initially called the Power Drencher. Now, it wasn't until 1991 where it was rebranded to the name that everyone knows, the Super Soaker, and this happened during a bunch of series of TV advertisements that went out. The Super Soaker took off and initially generated $200 million in sales in 1991, but has now eclipsed more than $1 billion in sales. The Super Soaker's brand is so popular that pretty much the term Super Soaker is used generically to refer to any type of toy pressurized water gun. This actually got Laramie in a little bit of hot water, as in 1992, they were sued for patent infringement by a company called Talk to Me Products. They claimed that the Super Soaker was a copy of their American Gladiator water gun, which was originally patented in 1978. However, they ended up losing their case, as this patent referred to a water gun having a chamber therein, whereas the Super Soaker used a water chamber on top of the gun and was attachable for filling. Now, Johnson wasn't done with just a Super Soaker. He ended up tweaking the design a bit, and he replaced the water with a toy projectile. In 1996, Johnson received another patent for what he called a pneumatic launcher for a toy projectile and the like, which eventually invented what we now know as the modern Nerf gun. However, they didn't stay away from hot water. Johnson ended up filing a suit against Hasbro, from whom Laramie was a subsidiary under, in 2013 after he discovered that he was being underpaid royalties for the Super Soaker and several Nerf lines of toys. He eventually was paid out $73 million in royalties from winning the suit. So now Johnson is part of a small group of African-American inventors whose work accounts for 6% of all U.S. patent applications. He now runs his own lab, has earned over 250 patents, and is helping mentor a new generation of scientists with a special focus on young people of color. He has been quoted, "When you look at large corporations, the minority representation is only 10% or so. But minorities are 30% of the population, soon to be 40%. We can't maintain technology leadership in the world when we're leaving large segments of our population on the sidelines. We need all hands on deck. That's something I emphasize to people every opportunity I get." In 2015, the Super Soaker was inducted into the National Toy Hall of Fame. So that's all pretty cool, and now something that both you and I know. So now when you have your Slumdog Millionaire moment and this question is asked, you can remember when you listen to this podcast, and you know the answer. But that's it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, please hit that subscribe, follow, and notifications so you can listen to the next new episode that drops. You can find me, Gamer Blerd, on Instagram at that8bitlife, and that's that, the number 8, BITLYFE. You can find Smash'd Bruh as well at Smash'd Bruh, and that's SMASHD BRUH. You can listen to us on your favorite podcast channels or watch us on YouTube. I may also start a Discord. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But anyways, we'll see you next episode.